Hello there and welcome to Times Exclusive. My name is Elvis Howa-howa. This is a program where we have one-on-one conversations with guests on issues of national concern. And today we're talking about the rights of women following a decision by the Women Lawyers Association of Malawi to petition President Mutharika of the low representation of women in his cabinet. Remember, President Mutharika recently reshuffled his cabinet and appointed about or less than 20% of women in there. We'll be talking to Bernadeta Malunga. She is a lawyer, but also she is the Secretary and Advocacy.
Research.
She's also responsible for research and advocacy at the Women Lawyers Association. Remember, this program is brought to you courtesy of Rainbow Paints.
Weather Shield, another brand from Rainbow Paints. This is Ultimate. An extreme high-performance acrylic smooth textured finishing with ultraviolet absorption and maximum flexibility properties for wall finishes. A built-in fungicide to resist molds. Simple to use, quick drying, water-resistant binding power, low dirt retention, and hides hairline cracks. Suitable for use on all exterior walls, be it plaster, concrete, or brickwork. Available in a wide range of colors in 5 and 20-liter containers. Contact us today in Blantyre 01841-813, 01841-871, Lilongwe 01755-901. Email info@rainbowpaints.biz. Rainbow Paints. Peace of mind, part of the deal.
If you're just joining us, this is Times Exclusive, a program where we take a look at issues of national importance. And today we're talking about women's rights. We are joined by Bernadeta Malunga. She's responsible for research and advocacy at the Women Lawyers Association of Malawi. Mrs. Malunga, very good. Hello and welcome to Times Exclusive.
Thank you very much.
First of all, give us a brief background about the Women Lawyers Association of Malawi. What's this group all about?
The Women Lawyers Association, it's an organization. Its membership is composed of women lawyers themselves here in Malawi. So every woman who is a lawyer can join the association. But also beyond that, it also allows students who are studying law to be part of the organization. Magistrates, whether professional or lay magistrates. It also opens doors to men who wants to be part of the association and they become honorary members. So it has members who are lawyers from both private and public institutions.
Why was it established?
This association was established to respond to issues that concern women in Malawi. If you look at our history as a nation, women's rights really have just started being promoted now. We've been talking about women's rights more after democracy or after multi-party democracy. But the rights of women were not really respected. So we want to look at issues that promote the human rights of women and also the human rights of children in general.
Okay, talking about women's rights. Recently, you presented a petition a few days back. You presented a petition to the Office of the President Cabinet. This petition is addressed to President Mutharika. You're there in that petition. You're raising concerns about, first of all, the low representation of women in the cabinet, and second of all, you're calling for the dismissal of Honorable Charles Mchacha as the Deputy Minister of Homeland Affairs because of his verbal attacks on women. Is this the first time that a cabinet, let's begin with the cabinet issue, the representation of women in cabinet, is this the first time in Malawi, for instance, that there's been a low representation of women in cabinet?
This is not the first time. I think I can state that, the cabinet appointments that have been there, women representation has been low. but we've been calling for more women participation in decision making. And we expected the president to be increasing the number of women in the cabinet, not reducing the number. So if you can see the present cabinet, as compared to the previous one, the previous had 4 women, and now we're going down to 3 women instead of even increasing the less number that was there.
Did you raise a concern then? Did you raise that concern when there were 4 women?
Yes, we have been raising them, but not in the nature like we have done now. But we have been raising them in research documents, in our advocacy, not only in the cabinet, but in all the sectors, that women should take part in decision making. There are low numbers of women in decision making positions.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
And in the petition as well, you raised the concern about the appointment of Mr. Mchacha as the Deputy Minister of Homeland Affairs. Because of his verbal attacks on women, you're saying he's disrespectful. The remarks are derogatory towards women. Is he the first to do that?
This is not the first. Since Mr. Mchacha started inserting women at political rallies, we have been speaking against this in a number of forums. And a number of organizations have also condemned his actions, his verbal attacks on women. And for the president at this time to come and appoint him to the position, the high office of deputy minister, we thought that that was a further insult to women. We thought that he could come up and condemn Mr. Mchacha and not promoting him to the position of deputy minister. So it's not the first time we have been condemning such attacks, and because our voice wasn't heard, we thought that we could do something that was more visible than what we're doing in the past.
Speaking on public broadcast recently, the Malawi Broadcasting Corporation, Mr. Mchacha was asked about that, and his response was that he's talking in particular about women that are in the United Transformation, or UTM. He's referring to women that are in the UTM, not all women or other women outside UTM. What's your take on that?
That's no justification at all to be inserting women. We've been talking about increasing the number of women who are taking part in politics, and research has been made, and a lot of people have commented that women are not participating in politics because of verbal attacks which they see being made against women in politics. If we abuse women who are in politics, then it has an effect of impacting the whole population of women, because women will be afraid to take part in political position. So any attack on one particular woman is an attack on all the population of women. It will have an effect in one way or the other, negative effects. So that's not just justification that the attacks were made on UTN women. We're looking at the effect for the whole. What is this doing to the plight of women in Malawi?
Do you see President Peter Mutharika removing him as Deputy Minister?
That's our expectation, that President Peter Mutharika should do that. And because he's the president of all of us, we are expecting that he's going to take a hit of a cause to remove Mr. Mchacha.
If that doesn't happen, what would be the next course of action?
We have a number of options. We'll continue engaging government. We'll also look at possible legal action measures, because if you remember, we have laws in this country. The Constitution itself talks about gender equality, that women and men should both participate in affairs that affect them, and that there shouldn't be any discrimination, and that practices that aim at discriminating women should be removed. And also there's the Gender Equality Act, which was passed in 2013, which talks about the appointing authority, appointing not more than 60% of either sex, or less than 40% of either sex in public office. So we can also explore the legal measures. But now we're just waiting for the response. So we're going to give him reasonable time to respond, and then look at other options.
There are reports making rounds in the public domain that you are with the UTM. Have you been sent by the UTM?
No, I don't know how, what's the basis that we are with the UTM. We represent the affairs of women. So the woman can come from any quarter, whether it can be a woman from the DPP as a party, it can be a woman from the UTM, from MCP. We are going to speak for all of that. Now we're talking about less women in the cabinet. Usually the president appoints women from his political party, which is the DPP. So why are people saying we have been sent by UTM, not that we have been sent by DPP women? We're speaking for all the women. We're speaking for women in DPP, women in UTM, women in MCP. So those reports, those allegations are baseless, and they have no foundation at all.
In 2012, Malawi had its first ever woman president, Dr. Joyce Banda, and you are raising concerns that women have not had a fair representation. Do you think the record has been fair?
Can you come again?
In 2012, Malawi had its first ever woman president, Dr.
Yes.
Joyce Banda. And you've been raising concerns over the time that the representation of women in leadership positions, on decision-making positions, has not been all that fair. Don't you think that statement is a little bit on the wrong side, basing on the fact that you've had a woman president, Malawi has had a woman president, and Malawi has recently, not for the first time, the chairperson of the Malawi Electoral Commission is a woman, Dr. Janansa. Back in the days, we also used to have Justice Msosa, who was a woman, and there are many other women in decision-making positions. Do you think the record for this country has been fair?
Fair is not really good enough. We're talking about equality now. So the statistics matters. So there are just a few women who are in those decision-making positions as compared to men. You can just look at the Malawi parliament, its composition. Just few women who are in that parliament. So the magnitude of it, or the statistic point of view, we're not saying that women, they hardly no women in decision-making position. They are there, but we can do better. So now we're talking about 50-50 representation, which we are far to reach that point. So to say that we're not being fair, I think that's not right, because we are looking at the statistics.
Do you see the 50-50 campaign working? It's been a challenge even in advanced democracies. In the US, they've never had a female president. And in many other countries, they've never, in South Africa, they've never had a female president. In the UK, they have a female prime minister. But it's very difficult in most countries, probably because of issues to do with culture, etc. Do you see this 50-50 campaign working?
Yes, we have a hope that it's going to work, and we can reach that point, because the other countries that have made strides towards that, even having more women than men in certain decision-making decisions. We have hope. And since we are in a multi-party democracy, we have laws that are allowing such participation, unlike in the past. We think that we can reach to that point. The fact that other developed countries haven't reached that far shouldn't bar us from aiming high. So we know it going back, we're still aiming at 50-50 representation.
Mrs. Malunga, there are also other observations that there have been a lot of issues that have been happening that have been not helpful when it comes to the promotion of women's rights. For instance, there have been stories about men or husbands, chopping off the hands of their wives. There have been many stories about women's abuses. Have you come out and spoken against this and condemned this, and probably taken it even further to the courts to ensure that there is justice for women?
Yes, that's what we do, representing women issues. So mainly at the Women Lawyers, we represent women who are indigent. They cannot afford the private legal representation, and that's our core duty. The other thing that we do is to conduct awareness campaigns against gender-based violence, especially violence against women and violence against children. So if you remember, just recently there was a case, there was a case where an accused police person is being accused of having defiled a child who was in custody. Women lawyers was also at the forefront. We also wrote a petition together with other human rights organizations. That petition, we submitted it to the relevant authorities. Apart from that, we also engaged the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions that the Women Lawyers Association should be part of a team that is prosecuting this case. And the DPP allowed us to join the case. So we have been doing that since the association was established.
Okay, and where is the case now, the Doha case? Where is it now?
There's still investigations going on, and the legal team is working on that one.
Okay.
Yes, so efforts are being made so that we can see justice being done.
Should women be appointed to decision-making positions simply because they're women? There's been that debate to say, should it just be because they're female? Or should it be about capacity and quality and capability, competence?
Yeah, there are a number of justifications for appointing women to a decision-making position. One is that everybody else in Malawi is supposed to participate, whether you are a woman, whether you are a man. And two, women also have the abilities, the capacities to participate. Whether you're a rural woman or urban woman, educated or not, you're supposed to participate in decision-making positions. So nobody is supposed to take a huge share at the expense of the others. So as men are participating, women should also be allowed to participate because they have the capacities and the abilities. Further, it's also a right to participate in the decision-making position. So we are not simply demanding that women participate because they are women, but we are demanding because women have a right, women have a potential, they have the capacities to participate in whatever positions that men are in.
Looking at the cultural setup in Malawi, there is a feeling, a general feeling, that culture in Malawi promotes the male child more. It puts men in the forefront more than women or girls. And there is a feeling that women can be leaders. Women can't lead. Women should be in the kitchen, cooking, and taking care of the family. What's your take on this sentiment, on this belief?
Yes, there are those beliefs, and we are working to rid off the society of those beliefs. Those are some of the beliefs that are pushing women down. So it's not only the belief that the beliefs in men, they're also in some of the women. So we have to do literacy campaigns targeting both women and men, that women and men, they have the same rights, they're equal. We may have been created differently, but we have the same potential to do better. The fact that one is born a woman shouldn't be a reason to subordinate them or to sideline them in doing some of the development activities. So yes, there are those beliefs, and we are working to rid the society of those beliefs.
And how is that work going on with traditional leaders, for instance? There are some traditional leaders who are so grounded in such beliefs. There are certain people who are so grounded in those beliefs. What are the challenges? What are you going through?
Yeah, I would say that we are moving in the right direction compared to the past. So some traditional leaders who were entrenched in these practices, they have been taught. Now there is a change of heart. You see some traditional leaders taking the lead in fighting against cultures or practices that marginalize women. We've seen people. There was the Aniva case, the one who was promoting the Fisi culture. He was arrested, convicted. So that's a right way to go. But we still have certain resistance in some cultures, in some communities, in some districts. But we have hope that if in other areas it has worked, it can also work in the more patriarchal areas. We just have to engage more, come up with a number of strategies, and also conscientize the people to know the bad of those cultural practices, because women empowerment benefits everyone. If women are empowered, the family is going to benefit, the community is going to benefit, as well as the nation at large.
Have men been supportive of this initiative?
Yes, I would say somehow they have been supportive, but they also need to be engaged. Because it's an issue, when we're talking about gender equality, it's an issue of power struggle. So if you're saying you have to be equal, women and men most of the time feel that you are taking away their power. You're taking away what they are rightly entitled, and you're giving it to somebody else. So there is some resistance from the men, but we also have to engage them so that they see the benefit. If a woman is empowered in the home, they'll be supporting each other. The woman doing one part, the man doing one part. We're going to get rid of poverty. Our society will be better at the end of the day.
How is Malawi currently doing? Of course, there's a 50-50 campaign, but how is Malawi doing when it comes to, statistically, when it comes to having women in leadership positions or decision-making positions? How is Malawi doing?
We're still behind. We're still lagging behind. But I would say that there's some positive things that are happening in Malawi. So the issue of laws that are there promoting women's rights. So if there is a violation of a women's right, somebody can go to court and complain that my rights have been violated. Malawi is also a peaceful country. Women can come out and condemn such practices. But in terms of the numbers, the statistics, we still are behind. But it's better compared with what we had in the past.
Who is currently doing well when you look, for instance, in the SADC region or on the African continent?
On the African continent, you can say Uganda, if we're talking about political representation, is doing at least very well. In the southern part of Africa, South Africa, in the political arena, women are also doing very well.
What have they been able to do right? What are some of the policies so that perhaps you and Malawi can adopt and learn from?
Mostly it's a political will, or those who are in power. So if we have the political leadership that has the will, that has the heart to promote women empowerment, it's easy. So we're talking about the president here. If he had the heart of women, we could have seen him promoting like a 40-60 or 50-50 in the cabinet. But we see that we haven't have that political will to support women empowerment. If a leader starts, everybody else follows. Secondly, it's the laws. In the countries that are doing better, they have put in place affirmative action provisions in the law. So, for example, laws that are said in any political party, if you are fielding candidates, you have to have women and men equal representation. laws that promote quotas in the political circle. So though we saying that the gender equality has put in place quotas, it's only in the public service and the employment sector and in the education sector. They removed in the area of politics. So that's the sad part of it. So countries that are doing better, they're the ones who have put in place enabling laws incorporating quotas in the provisions.
When it comes to the law, can that work in Malawi? Because there are laws that are political in nature, if I may put it that way, that have been difficult to implement. Section 65. By the 1st of this month, there will be the Political Parties Act, which will ban handouts, etc., will require political parties to review their sources of funding. Such laws are very difficult to implement in Malawi. If there was that sort of law that promotes quotas in women in political parties, can that work? How can you work around that?
Yes, they can work. When laws are put in place, the institutions that are supposed to enforce those laws. And if laws are giving somebody else a particular right, that person is not supposed to sit on their rights. They're supposed to demand or claim their rights. So sometimes things are not working because the beneficiaries are not demanding or claiming their rights, or the one who is supposed to enforce is not doing their work. They're sitting on their job. So if all of us work hand in hand, we put in place good laws and we enforce those laws, I see no problem. It can work as it has done in other countries.
This is Times Exclusive, a program that takes a look at issues of national importance, and today we're talking about women's rights. In recent days, the Women Lawyers Association of Malawi petitioned President Mutharika over the low representation of women in cabinet, and they're also demanding that the president fires Deputy Minister of Homeland Affairs, Mr. Charles Mjaja, over his derogatory remarks about women. Is that going to work, and what will be their next course of action if that doesn't happen? That's what we're talking about here on Times Exclusive. Remember, this program is brought to you courtesy of Rainbow Paints.
Weather Shield, another brand from Rainbow Paints. This is Ultimate, an extreme high-performance acrylic smooth textured finishing with ultraviolet absorption and maximum flexibility properties for wall finishes. A built-in fungicide to resist molds. Simple to use, quick drying, water-resistant binding power, low dirt retention, and hides hairline cracks. Suitable for use on all exterior walls, be it plaster, concrete, or brickwork. Available in a wide range of colors in 5 and 20-liter containers. Contact us today in Blantyre 01841-813, 01841-871, Lilongwe 01755-901. Email info@rainbowpaints.biz. Rainbow Paints. Peace of mind, part of the deal.
Hello there, if you're just joining us, this is Times Exclusive, a program that talks about issues of national interest. Today we're talking about women's rights. What needs to be done to promote issues of women? We're talking here about issues like the 50-50 campaign. We're talking about a good representation of women in cabinet. We're talking about putting women in decision-making positions in institutions, whether public or private. And I'm joined by a lawyer, Mrs. Bernadeta Malunga. She's responsible for research and advocacy at the Malawi Women Lawyers Association. Let's take this battle to the household level now. Do you see that as another area where you need to reach out?
The household?
Yeah.
Yes. That's where it should start, actually. So when you're talking about gender equality, it should start in the home. The parents have to educate the children that both men and women are equal. And if you are allocating chores in the house, there shouldn't be any distinction. So the boys should be able to work in the kitchen. The father should also work in the home, because the children take after what is happening in the home. What is the mother doing? That's what the girls will look after. What is the father doing? That's what the boys will look unto. So if the father is gender insensitive, it's more likely that the children coming out of that house, they're going to be gender insensitive. If girl children are abused in the home, that's what the other children will do to other girls in future or to their wives in future. So the fight for gender equality should actually start in the home.
Do you think women have generally performed well when they are put in decision-making positions? Because there have been observations that even the country's first female president didn't do particularly well, so that eventually limits the chances for women to be trusted with these positions, even when it comes to institutions, companies, both private and public. When women are in such positions, they're emotional. They don't take things with us. They don't approach things with a. They don't approach matters with a sober mind. If I may put it that way. What do you make of such sentiments? They're there, those sentiments. People talk about those things.
Yes, such sentiments are there.
People
That's
talk about
the sad part of it. But it's just a myth. It's just a stereotype. And this aspect of generalizing the failure of one woman to all the women, the number of men who have failed, even when we're talking about the president, if you just go back to the era of President Mutharika, before he passed on, the situation was very bad, and everybody was speaking against Mutharika. There's the time of Kamuzu Banda, the times of Bakiri, and now comes Joyce Banda. You generalize to all the women, when in fact it's the same is not being done to the men. That since Mutharika did this, which was bad, then all the men are bad. So those myths, those stereotypes are the ones that are pulling us down. So if a woman is in a leadership position, it's like people want her to perform more than what is expected. If she commits one error, then that is generalized. They don't give them a benefit of doubt. So women have a hard time to prove themselves because of the society. But it's not true that women, when they are in positions, they do badly. Actually, they do better. If you go out there and ask people, they will say women who are in leadership are good because women are more caring. So they bring out those characters of women. Women are more caring. They're less corrupt. And because they are less corrupt, people don't like them in the institutions, and they create stories about them.
Let's talk about political castigation. Politics is one hot area where in Malawi, politicians practice what is called megaphone politics. They castigate each other, left, right, and center. It started with Mr. Njaja, for instance.
Yes.
Then it went on to the UTM. Some women also responded. The former First Lady, Kalista Bingo Mutharika. Then Patricia Galiati as well, Honorable Patricia Galiati as well. How do you deal with a problem where you have men castigating women and women castigating men? Because it just fills up the whole issue, doesn't it? How do you look at it?
We should be moving towards changing the face of politics in Malawi. So politics shouldn't be justified for people to be insulting each other, defaming each other on political rallies. What Malawians want is to have leaders who have a heart for their welfare. So for them, when they stand in the political rallies, whether it's a man, whether it's a woman, what we want to hear is things that promote unity in Malawi, things that develop the country. So the insults shouldn't be tolerated, whether they're coming from women, whether coming from a man. We should have peaceful campaigns. We should be able to go to a campaign and not hear any intimidating language against one sex or the other.
Do you think leaders have done enough to stop this? Because there are also observation statements that the buck stops at leaders. For instance, the leader of one political party should be able to tell everyone in that party when they're going for a rally that no need for castigating anyone. Do you see leaders doing enough in these political parties?
No, not much has been done. So if somebody else uses derogatory language at a political rally where the president is actually present, the president should be able there and then to condemn such practices. If he can't do it at the rally, then maybe call a meeting and tell them that she will not tolerate, or she will not tolerate such language. I think it all starts at the political leadership. If the political leadership is happy that people are castigating one another at the political parties and they don't stop it, actually it's going to escalate. But if they stand at the podium, the political leaders, and condemn and put it very clearly that nobody else is going to be favored, nobody else is going to be allowed to use insulting language, I think this problem can go. But it seems that our leaders are very happy about it, and because they're very happy about it, people think it's funny, or we think that that's the language that they can use, and it's increasing instead of reducing.
Have enough women shown interest to take up leadership positions?
I would say that we are coming up.
Or you're shy. What's the actual situation?
There are a number of reasons. Not many women, if we are talking about politics, not many women are coming up as compared to men to stand for political positions. And also those what we label as big political positions, like for the presidency. So you find that we have a lot of women councillors aspiring for being a councillor as opposed to women MPs. We have less women aspiring from being presidents as compared to men. There are a number of reasons for that. We talk about political intimidations, that's it. We talk about issues of resources. Less women have resources. Politics is about resources. If you have to go and campaign, you need to have money for transport, you need to have money for materials to distribute, for you to be visible. So the financial muscle of women also pulls them down. The other issue is about the society, the cultural practices, the perceptions that women who are in politics, they're not morally upright, and we see this being emphasized by others in political rallies. So other women have been stopped by the spouses or their families, that's not an area to go. And also this culture where women have been raised to be submissive and not speak in front of men. So most women do not have that confidence to stand for political positions, because you need those skills. You need to be somebody who can engage with people. You need somebody who can speak in public. But with upbringing of most women, that was not allowed. So we have to learn those skills now.
Okay, fine. And you think that's what about in NGOs or in companies, both private and public? The representation is too low. What's the problem there? Because women have been to universities, women have qualifications that can qualify them or enable them to take up those positions. Why is it that there's still a low representation of women in such positions in companies, etc.?
A number of reasons. If you look at the workplaces, we have women who are working, a lot of women working, but they are in the low positions. the big positions have been taken up by men. Few women are in the top positions. One is the discrimination that we have in the workplaces, promoting men more than women. So women are also sidelines from promotions, training. We're talking about education. It's men who are more educated than the women. Though we have a number of women who are graduating now in our colleges, but the numbers are still low as compared to the men. So we can't have that 50-50. So we have to promote also as well the education of women for us to reach that parity.
Do you think companies need deliberate policies to promote the promotion of women?
Yes, actually, companies need those deliberate policies. So policies on non-discrimination in the workplaces, policies on against sexual harassment in the workplaces, because some women, because they are sexually harassed in the workplaces, they have stopped working and they go back home and sit. So we need those deliberate policies that promote equality in the workplace, that removes discriminatory practices, sexual harassment practices in the workplaces.
Looking forward, looking to the future, what other policies or projects do you have as the Women Rights Association of Malawi to make sure that the rights of women are safeguarded and guaranteed by the government and by companies, both private and public, and that institutions like churches even, and schools, and even in the home, at the household level, women or girls are really regarded in society?
Yeah, we have continuous programs that aims at uplifting the lives of women and children in Malawi. So we do a number of awareness campaigns. We go in the villages, we go in institutions, sensitizing them about gender equality in general, and also about the laws that are available that promote the rights of women and children. We also do analyze laws and policies that are there, noting the gender gaps in the law, and advocate for gender inclusion in the laws. So when laws are being reviewed, we also do our own analysis, and we submit our reports to relevant authorities to look at the gender issues in the particular laws. So we are continuing with that. And lastly, our core business of representing women. So when issues come out concerning women, whether at the national level, at the regional level, district level, community level, those issues, we're still going to take them up. If there are legal measures or dimensions towards the issues, we're going to assist the women in representation in court.
Lastly, you earlier talked about chores at the household level, at the societal level as well. There are certain there's certain work that is seen to be only done by men, digging graveyards, etc., taking up security personnel jobs. Should women be doing that now? What do you think?
Yes, there is no problem. For you to know that women can do anything, you should maybe have a look at the nations that have been in war. So ordinarily, it's the men who go to war. The soldiers, maybe it's just now that the women are being recruited to be armed forces. It was the women, the men who were going to war. But when all the men have died, you just have less men. They go and recruit even the women, meaning that women can also do those jobs, which we say that they are ordinarily for men. As long as you have hands, you have eyes, you can function in whatever way you can function. You can do the work that is there. If the men were not there, would you say that people will not be buried? they will still be buried. If you look at the practice of burying small children, who buries those ones? The ones that they have died at the hospital or just after being delivered. It's the women who go to the graveyard and they do their own digging. So it means that they can do that. And a lot of farmers are women. It's a digging.
Perhaps the grave is too small.
No. It's not about the grave is too small. If they can dig the small grave, it means that they can also dig the bigger one. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's Bernadeta Malunga, Research and Advocacy Officer at the Malawi, the Women Lawyers Association of Malawi, speaking to us today in today's edition of Times Exclusive. You've been with me, Elvis Howa-howa. Mrs. Malunga, thank you very much for coming through to Times Exclusive.
Thank you very much.
All right, all the best.